It's not included in anything.
Yeah, it's not
Poured
part
out
of
of
the,
the
it's not
assessments.
part of the assessment
It's the
methodology.
equation.
It's not in there anymore. And interestingly enough, the golf course, the town center is part of the golf course, but the sales center is commercial. It's different.
Yeah, and they're discussing, is the town center commercial, or is it, or what is it?
What is it?
Well,
Well,
but we only
they're trying to
have,
get over
we
to
only have
us,
three
so it's not
categories.
commercial
They only have three
anymore.
No, it's recreational.
But
Well-
recreational is not an assessment, we
It's
don't
not-
have a category.
They
for
don't have
that.
such a category.
Good.
But-
It turns out that they get one EAU per acre for the golf course including the town center. Whereas the commercial, which is what the sales center is 5.8 EAUs per acre.
Now, understand though,
And that'll be good until we get it.
well, and understand that it doesn't really affect you guys at all. It affects how you pay for it. Because if the taxes go up significantly on the sales center, I'm not sure how that's all with you guys, but you're gonna pay that then in your HOAs, whereas your assessment to your homes would decrease. So, since all residents pay into that, and the HOAs for the town center, it just depends on how, if it comes out of your taxes or it goes to your
Well,
HOAs.
I think you gotta look at different percentages.
Yeah, we got some.
I don't-
Well, no,
I
because
don't
your
think it's one for
OO2,
one.
your OO2 budget doesn't change.
We
You guys
have-
only pay your
we have a
OO2
sales
budget.
Center till.
It's not like anybody else pays your assessment,
Well,
so
it
it's
goes
all
way
you
back.
Well,
guys.
it's not in
That
there.
is part of the
Town
town center.
centers or the,
Yeah. Okay.
But it
Okay,
would
welcome
be.
center's
All right,
not in
well-
our.
And at some future time, we will assess the golf
Exactly,
course for
so
use of pond
it would
13 and
go
driving
up.
range.
But it will be, when they
Should.
turn it over to us.
Yeah, well,
No, right.
Another
but-
discussion another day.
another day.
The pond, that pond isn't part of the golf course?
Well, what he's just saying is there's nobody paying for it now, but the golf course certainly ought to be paying. and
No, he
paying
didn't say there's
every-
Oh,
nobody paying
because they
for
use it for
They're just not
driving
using
range.
it in
That's
their
right, I'm
pond.
That's
saying,
funny.
that's the one exception, what we need to get in their pockets for that.
Maybe you can go dive for their golf balls.
Well, no, but I have had meetings with them,
They're
that they should be
floaters.
paying for it.
Yeah, that's true, it would be easy, just grab them.
We have had meetings where they should be paying,
Yeah.
just for the maintenance,
Yeah.
13,000 a year.
Okay, moving along. The next item is boardwalk reserves. That shouldn't, I don't think that needs to
Yeah,
be in there.
that shouldn't be there.
Good.
We've
Take care
already
of that.
covered that. The GSCDD board meeting report, you've
Covered some
already
of that.
gotten. That's been disseminated to you in written form. Joe did a much more complete job on the first part of the meeting than I did on the second part of the meeting.
What he's saying is I'm lengthy.
I mean, he actually, reports on the meeting. I only report on things that I think are relevant to us.
If it interested you.
Or if I understood it.
Wait.
Yeah, there you go, there you go. That's probably more like it. Sometimes you can.
Well,
sit and
sometimes
say,
you
"What
just
the
turn
hell
out
are
there's
they
one
talking
board
about?"
member that,
Yeah, right. Okay, so we're gonna move on to Ponds work group.
okay, first thing, I gave everybody a big sheet like this.
Yep.
And this is the actual running total of our ponds workshop. And year-to-date, we have spent $532,000, which is budget total on the extreme right side. And then you go back across the various, and that's 532 against a total budget of 774. The downspout initiative, which is near the end of it, on the right-hand side. Oh, wait, you got this thing, oh, there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm looking at something else.
The downspout initiative is the thing we're way over on, and we know that, and we'll probably spend another at least 200,000 this year on that. But everything else, we're coming along fairly decently. Going across the top, for anyone that cares, the top line under the title Product Contract Services Aquagenics, 32 ponds, 204,000. That's the annual budget. We have the aquagenics cost, the solitude cost, and the Met Tower biological costs. And we're also kind of rolling in there 110,000 for conservation of wetlands, which we just got from our friends at WCI. Then is stormwater cleaning inspection. We are now under contract at $100,000 a year for that. And we will rotate the entire community, I believe, every 4 years for inspection and or repair and or cleaning. The next big hitter is aeration, and I've got a separate sheet that I'll go over to in a minute and explain to you where we are on that. Then we got fish and carp, we got vine control, littorals, bank repairs, the downspout initiative, which is a biggie, and then the web portal. So this is where we are. If you look at the detail below the spreadsheet, that's where the money has gone, by invoice, by date, by contractor. So if anybody ever wants to see, what we're paying, where we're paying it, this comes directly from the Stephen Bloom reports. So that's.
So this is what you foresee spending this year?
No, I have spent 336 out of 5, I've spent 532 so far.
Of 774.
We are going to exceed our 774 by probably 200,000, but I got it in reserves. It says, if you look at the very first line after the spread, it says as of 9/30/18, our carryover balance for ponds is $532,900 per Stephen Bloom. He gives me that every September. So I know what I'm bringing from past years, and that's why we continue to overspend on a year-to-date basis. Okay, the next piece of information, I'm just now going to pass out to you. Pass these down. What's in the rest of the balance? And this is a whole lot of information you probably don't even want to know about or care about, but I thought it would be good to share it with you, just so you understand what we got. Working from the left-hand column over on both sides. The first column is the pond number. We've got roughly 58 ponds. The second column says what basin those ponds are in. It's either basin 2 or basin 6. The next number is the acreage of those various ponds. The next column is the perimeter square feet. Now, those numbers are important only because we pay our suppliers in different ways. Aquagenic gets paid on the acreage, Solitude bills on the perimeter. I think it's advantageous to us to be paying on a perimeter, and we may go that way in the future, but we're just still gaining knowledge. This is our first full year having the two suppliers. Met Tower is not a part of it one way or the other, that's just an experiment. And the next bracketed 4 or 5 columns covers grass carp. So in 2013, and the date and the number of fish we put in for grass carp by pond. So we got to put 13 of them in 2013 in pond 2. We put 14 in pond 4. We put 22 carp, etc. as you go down through there. In 2014, you can see we added some new ponds further down. And we didn't do anything in 15, 16. In 2017, we added more. In 2018, we added quite a bit. And now the next column is 2017, and that indicates sport fishing. So in pond 12, for instance, we put in 6,450 of some kind of a sport fish in 2017. So we keep track of what we're putting in our ponds. The next series of columns, first one deals with fish crates. So we keep the fish in the community. So on the very first one, pond 2, it has installed in 2014. Dropped down 4 or 5, and then we had one installed in 7 in 2014. Then we go to, forget the I think, I don't know what that is. Then you get down to pond 25, we put one in 2013, which we subsequently removed and reinstalled it at pond 37 further down. But there's the ponds that we put in 13, 14, and if you flip it over, we have 2 of them we're going to be putting in this year on ponds 38 and 39. And in pond 51, we installed one in 18. Okay, the next column over has to do with littorals. And there's nothing up in the front, and then you drop down, you see aqua at 18. Well, that means we had aquagenics install littorals in those ponds in 2018. And that's about it. That's not quite as full as it needs to be. This is still a work in progress. The next series has to do with whether we have aeration in the ponds. And then, so the answer is, it has a Y, that means yes, we do. And the hyphenated portion is the year the aeration was installed. And we've been installing these every year until we get the thing covered up. Pond 13 doesn't have any aeration, because that's the golf course pond, and we haven't quite decided what to do with that one yet.
That's what you're thinking. That's the driving range pond?
That's the driving range.
That's
pond.
why
We're
you're-
thinking
that's
now
what
we
you're
won't
thinking.
use the driving range, but we will do the part over close to Ravenna. So we'll probably do that in 2020. So then you go to the second page, and here's a significant part of this. After Pond 39, we had the permit criteria manual changed, and Lennar has been responsible since then. So Lennar was responsible for all these other ponds. Lennar put in minimums, and they basically put in junk. So when you see next to that very first pond 40, and it says UP, that means we upgraded it, and we upgraded it in 2019. So we've done 4 of them so far this year. We've got a whole bunch more to upgrade. When you get near the bottom, there are ponds 51, 55, 57, and 58. Now, there's nothing significant on the sheet you're looking at, but those 4 ponds were certified as having functioning aeration at the point in time that the district took the transfer of control. We have subsequently found out, because we always do field checks, that they don't work. Not only is the equipment terrible, but the contractor who Lennar hired ran electrical cords from people's homes to the compressor boxes, and of course, as soon as somebody either saw it and unplugged it, or the lawn service cut them, there went our electric. So to upgrade these to where we need to be right now is $47,000 for those 4 ponds. So we're taking a twofold approach to this. We have been in constant contact with Chris, with Lennar, Russell Smith, with Tony, and with Tetra Tech. And we're asking Lennar to fix them, and they haven't said no yet. Although Russell Smith sent me a note saying it was all done. But he said he had a staff meeting and asked them, they told him it was done. So we sent it back, and I sent him pictures. But if that fails, because Lennar's not very forthcoming with giving money, we're starting the application process to attach their fund. They have a construction bond fund. So one way or the other, we're going to get it. So that's that part of it.
What were those lines again?
51, 57, 55, and 58. And they're all in Prado Pistoia.
Wouldn't there be a building code violation taking those pumps up to someone's house?
You think?
Well, why would we send an engineer out there to look at it and say, yeah, it works?
I would think you could get the city to go after it.
I usually go for the path of least resistance, but yeah, we're after them for it. We need to get it. So anyway, if you ever, and then the last column of the paper tells you.
Until June 28th, we don't want to upset them.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I'm upsetting them, but they're used to it. Okay, in the very last column, you see mostly it's aquagenics, but there is one for Metower, and then a whole bunch of Solitude. That's because Solitude has all of our ponds and Cypress Lakes. So there's one handy little sheet of paper that tells you an awful lot about what's going on with the ponds over history, because you guys have been spending a lot of money, at least we'll see where it's going.
Now we know what it's thinking.
Yeah, you know what you're spending.
Hey, Bob, one
Yeah.
request. Don't share the stocking for the game fish with anyone else, so I can go win the next fishing tournament. I know what fish.
Little teeny tiny fish.
They grow quick.
Okay, I have in your packet a quote from Extreme Divers to install a fish crate gate on pond 38, excuse me. And I guess I'm gonna make a motion that we authorize the expenditure and have it in the budget of not to exceed $7,000 to install a fish crate on pond 38.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
This is the last one we're ever gonna need.
Last fish break. No?
Everything will be done for sure.
Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
We got that?
7-0.
Okay, now, the next one, our infamous downspout project. As it relates to ongoing downspouting, we are currently working in Carina. We've got 2 of the 4 sections done, and the people will be back to work probably in July to do the next 2. And once they're done, then I've got to dig up some more money if we go any further. We've always said this is going to be a 5 or 6 year project, and now we will have, from a global perspective, all of Prado, Pistoia will be done, all of Old Pelican, and on Cypress Grove, we will have Solaro and Carina done, I hope, this year. The only thing we have remaining to do will be Matarita. but Mattery is a pretty big chunk.
That's the one where they were supposedly doing it.
No, Prado and Pistoia is what.
I was gonna say,
Oh,
Fredo and Pistoia are,
Where they're
they're
supposed
to be doing it.
And I'll talk about that in a minute, that's another bond fund application. But, we've been spending probably $200,000-300,000 a year, and I'm running out of money, so we're gonna have to stop unless you guys cough up some more money. But I'll keep you posted on it. People are getting encouraged and want it now. We never used to get that, but now we're getting called, what are you gonna do? Your guys left, where are they coming back, you know? So that's always very, very good. Other downspout related items. We're in discussions with our friends in Lennar because when we sent field checkers out, we sent an engineer out to check everything that they had done in Prado and Pistoia. Pistoia was done properly. Prado wasn't hit and miss. And here's another item, I see Chris just left, but here's another item where in the Russell Smith minute, he said, everything is done. So I jumped in my car and ran out, and it ain't done. So I sent him another rebuttal, and then Tony got involved for us, and Tony quoted chapter and verse from the permit criteria manual. So they gotta do it, but the saga continues. And Chris is also pursuing bond fund attachment in the event that they don't do it, and we'll just go do it and build a bond. Web. We are having a meeting at Passarella and Associates next Wednesday at 11:30 for anybody that might like to come and see what the latest and greatest is on the website. And we're gonna give them some upgrade work, because right now we've done a lot of things in the last 12 months that hasn't been on our website. But once all that's done, probably in September, October, I'm gonna come out with the newest demo of where we are. The website looks great. We're getting, and we've been using it, it's not just cosmetic. There's a lot of questions related to the Viadana flooding, and I don't have any answers, but I got a lot of questions. And one of the things that has occurred in here is that during the course of a meeting with South Florida Board of Management, we had to go to the website to determine the length and the size of the piping, and it was all right there. We had all the data we needed, and that was really wonderful when we had that. That was the good news of the meeting. The bad news is, everything that we try to go forward with South Florida, we're being hit with a roadblock and being stymied. And we're talking about one building that got wet, 2 homes. The floor of the control structure in Pond 38 is 22 feet. The floor of the building that got wet is 22 or 23. It's very, very close. Every other building in Vietnam, the pond is at 20 and the homes are at 22. Every other pond. These 4 or 5 homes was in transition between Johnson Engineering and some other engineering company. And no one will officially say that they screwed up, but they screwed up. They didn't build them high enough. But who are you gonna sue? You're gonna go after defunct WCI, or you're gonna go after the engineering firms? So I've been keeping Viadana apprised of it.
Well, a question.
Sure.
It's Viadana, at the end of the day, it's Viadana who should sue somebody.
Yes,
What's it
absolutely.
down to?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Shouldn't be us. It ought to be Viadana, if it gets to litigation.
Okay.
Now that they're building Arborwood, new information to me, and shame on me, but we're getting a hell of a lot of water from Arborwood. And it's going to come through Pistoia and Casella. I have no idea what the impact's gonna be, but it's thousands and thousands of gallons of water. In researching Bridgetown at the last meeting with South Florida Water Management, we finally got South Florida to go into Bridgetown to see if the berms are constructed, that they were supposed to construct. They went last week or Monday of this week, and they sent us a note back saying, we saw berms. So the next step is now, and we asked Tetra Tech to get out there and do it through Chris. I said, now, okay, we got berms, are they right? How big are they? Survey the whole friggin' area. So I'll wait to see what that happens. But I'm afraid that we're gonna be stuck with a lot of water we can't do anything with. There were 3 alternatives that were talked about, either lowering the control structure in Pond 38 a foot or a foot and a half, and the cost related to that without doing any engineering, but just the fines, because you have to buy something that allows you to lower the wetland by that corresponding amount of money. It's $100,000 a unit, and they estimate at least 5 units are needed. So it's $500,000 to do that. So that doesn't sound good. We talked about putting in a new spillway between Pond 38 and the other pond in Viadana, which is 33, that would go under that golf cart pathway. I don't have any idea what that will cost, but that may be a short-term fix, but they tell me it won't help in the flood. If we get the flood the size that we had, it's all gonna be underwater. There was another talk about running another parallel pipe, a 48-inch pipe, from Pond 38 directly to the flowway, next to the existing pipe. God knows who's gonna pay for that. We might be able to construction bond fund if they got it up, but I don't know if we could pull that off for Viadana. I doubt it. We could do it for Pistoia Breda, but not Viadana. So,
That's not our responsibility.
no, I mean, so the bad news is we really don't have a fix for those folks
Yeah.
yet. We're still talking about putting a berm on our side, like the Great Wall of China, matching the cart path and going all the way almost to Palazzo. That would probably be the cheapest option, but we don't know if we can get all the approvals from the Corps of Engineers in South Florida to do it.
Would it solve the problem?
I don't know, and nobody can tell us that's the
Yeah.
problem. I mean, we also talked about berming the wetland, just build a real high berm over there, who cares how deep it gets there? But again, I don't, it's big bucks. So, don't have answers, just got lots and lots of questions. We are getting excellent help from Ed Tinkle on this project. I mean, he is a roll up his sleeves and digs right into it with the detail.
Yeah.
And I think that's all we have on ponds.
Well, I have a question on
Sure.
ponds. Going back through notes from, I think, last meeting, there was a comment about reviewing the slope of the banks. Is anything being done on that?
A particular pond
Just the note that I recall read, just there was a review of pond bank slopes. It didn't-
not
wasn't
in Pelican.
specific.
The last time we did it was 2013. We had an engineering firm come in, and everything that was identified has been repaired.
Okay.
And from that point to today, because we're doing the downspouts, we don't think we'll ever have to do it again because we're not having erosion. We hope that we won't have to have it. Time will tell.
The last question I have then has to do with my next door neighbor. They're putting a pond in, or a pool in, should be a pond, I could fish in it, but, when they dug the hole, they just dumped all the sand in the backyard, didn't put a retainer around it. Now, I just thought to myself, we were lucky we didn't have any rain and there was no real runoff.
You should have called me. If you see that, call us.
Well, okay, I could have talked to them about it.
No.
too.
And here's
Oh,
why.
oh, we're such good friends. This was,
It's against the contractor, not the person. Ella's now going out and making an inspection, and she started one of them on her own. And the contractor that's built the pool was fined $50 by the city.
well, that
of
was
Fort
my
Myers.
next door neighbor.
Well, they got fined.
The guy was out there with a shovel cleaning up the street with the dirt in
And
it.
then I went around right after that, and I saw somebody on either Julia or Karina, it actually had a plastic barrier up.
Yeah,
front.
that's the other one. They're
Yeah,
actually
they're
putting
doing
that
it right. I
around.
stopped and thanked them for doing it
Oh,
right. But
good.
we're getting more involved in that, because it's an opportunity for us, if the whole community is vigilant, that we can do this right and not have everybody screw up our.
But that was a result of a Gateway drive-through
Yes.
inspection?
Yes.
And Gateway had the
Yep.
power?
L did it?
Okay, I thought it might be worthwhile, I go to the ACC meetings, if I mention something to them, so when they're approving.
Well, I sent it to Scott. He's got
Okay.
copies of all of it, to
When-
bring it up there and to the presidents.
Yeah, when they're approving the pools, they ought to make sure that that's an understood thing. Because my neighbor was really shocked by the whole thing, and I,
Yeah, Scott's gonna put something out.
Yeah.
okay.
It goes out tomorrow.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah, and I'm also happy to report that WCI is stepping up to the concrete disposal. We haven't had another incident. It's checked every day by Castle and at least once a week by Geppert, and it looks good. They're doing a good job. I'll give them credit for
They're
that.
doing a good job.
They're doing a good
Great.
job. Sorry it took so long. We had to get confrontational, but anyway, that's all I've got.
Okay. Very quickly, Safety and Security Work Group. I think I sent you a note on the fact that we would like another $2,000 to continue the police patrols through the end of this fiscal year. They will be at a reduced amount in the summertime, off-season, and then we'll step it up again. We now have money in the we will have money in the budget, step it up in the fall, so,
Stick it to the snowbirds.
yeah. So I move that we allocate an additional $2,000 through the Safety and Security Work Group for police patrols for the remainder of this fiscal year.
I'll second it.
I'll even third that.
Any discussions? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that passes. We are working on, continuing to work on various projects, and hopefully when we have the money in the budget, that'll help a lot. You're familiar with most of these. They're intersection problems. The one at Cypress Grove Drive and Azura, where we have the cones. We want to come up with a permanent fix to that, rather than having those cones sitting there.
Is it more dangerous going in Cypress or coming out? Going from Pelican Reserve Boulevard or coming to it?
I think it's coming from Pelican Reserve Boulevard. Yeah.
Because I've been intentionally kind of
It's
speedy.
less- It's probably less dangerous coming from Pelican Reserve Boulevard.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So the area
The
that's
cars-
greater danger is approaching
Approaching.
Pelican Reserve Boulevard.
If you're
Okay.
coming from Ibis or,
Yeah.
I'm only talking about being on the highway, I'm sorry.
well, in terms of hitting a golf cart you're talking about?
No.
The issue is the golf
I thought
carts.
the issue was you couldn't see the golf carts from the highway in time.
Right.
Right, but at the official golf cart crossing spot, the
Closest
official
to
one,
Avila?
closest to Pelican Reserve Boulevard,
Right.
it's closest to that.
Okay,
When you're coming from Ibis, going to Ibis 9.
to 9, got it, okay.
You're in a golf cart, you cannot see the traffic coming to your left. You can't see the traffic coming.
In either
Ergo, they, the drivers, can't see you
That's
coming from Pelican Reserve Boulevard.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, because
Got it.
there's a big curve, and if you actually used what is the official crossing.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, the official one, that's the one that's
I mean, it's
dangerous.
deadly,
Yeah.
because those cars are coming around that curve.
I've
They
been trying to
can't
pay
see-
attention.
they can't
Coming
see-
the other way, it's not so bad
Yeah,
on a golf cart.
Right.
Because you can see the
you
traffic,
can see the traffic.
and they can see you on that side of the road, but they can't see people on the other side of the road.
My perspective was only as a driver, not a golf cart.
Okay,
I
that's
was
why I
sure
wanted
that
to
I
make
could
sure
see.
we were
Good.
doing apples and apples.
And then we're also continuing to look at the Veneto and Vicenza intersection. We've got lines now on the road that weren't quite done properly, but on Veneto and the people in Vicenza are still concerned about,
Really?
coming out of that.
Coming out.
Coming out of that.
Is there a
Traffic on-
speed sign
on
on
Veneta.
Veneto at all? I don't recall seeing a speed sign on
Yeah.
there.
Yes,
telling it's
there is,
15.
there is.
But nobody pays attention.
Nobody pays attention.
I know that, I
But
know.
it's there.
My golf cart even doesn't.
It says 15, nobody does 15.
And then we're also looking at.
No, even the golf carts don't do 15.
We're also looking at the Pelican Reserve Boulevard in Trieste, that crossing, which has got some.
That's gonna cost a few bucks to change.
Oh, yeah.
It needs to be just straightened out.
And people keep complaining about the lighting at night at the intersection of Pelican Reserve Boulevard and Cypress Grove, that there isn't,
It is
that the
bad.
lighting.
When I come
Yeah.
home at night,
Hmm?
when I come home at night, it's very hard to see.
It's very hard to see. We're trying to look for a solution to that. Unfortunately, a street light costs $10,000.
Phil?
But it's a permanent solution.
Huh?
But it's a permanent solution.
It's a permanent
instead
solution.
of
We're
constantly
looking at
trying.
what other things we could do to lighten the thing up.
In driving around, I made a unique observation. If you take Cypress Grove down to the circle for Prado, there's 2 streetlights and they can't be 30 feet apart.
Mhm.
Can we possibly steal one of those and move it? Seriously, I mean, we don't need 2
It'll cost
streetlights there.
$8,000.
It's almost, it's,
Probably costs
one's
as
there in
much to
case the other
move it.
burns out, I
It
think.
would probably cost as much or more to
move it.
move one.
But it's
I was
not out of, not out
I
of
was
the
just
question.
thinking about the
Not
cost
out
of
of
the
the question.
streetlight, because there's
That's a
2,
good- that's a
they
good
can't
thought,
be
Joe.
30 feet apart there.
Yeah.
We could take one down in Pareto before they turn it over and then say we don't know how it got done.
Yeah, that's right, it's missing, you gotta put another one up. I don't know.
Okay.
Just hire the
Well,
right
thank you,
driver.
thank you. It's worth looking at.
Yeah, I think
We'll
it
look
is.
at it, we'll look at it. So that's the report for Safety and Security Work Group. Any questions? Gateway meeting attendance schedule.
You're scheduled for next week, right? The 20th?
The 20th, right.
Yeah.
And,
And
And
then
then
July,
there's-
they only have one on the 18th.
yeah, but there's
We don't have
also.
anybody yet there.
Yeah, yeah. Is there somebody who can do the 18th of July?
I won't be in town.
I guess I could.
I don't think so.
Yeah, you're not going to any of this, Bill.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have enough to fill your weeks up.
No pun intended.
Yeah. Okay. We don't have the new assessment study with Supervisor Tinkle because that didn't happen. They're gonna look at it for next year. It's something we'll have an interest in. PBCA, Master Association turnover results and effects. I think we need to think about what our relationship will be with the Master Association, as well as the Master Association has on its agenda to come up with what its relationships will be with, not only with us, but with the President's Council and the Alliance, and what everybody's role is gonna be. So that's something we're gonna be doing, but I think it's not something we want to necessarily take up today.
Well, first of all, congratulations to you and Nancy.
Yeah.
For your victories.
Okay?
It was hard fought campaign. There were a lot of people involved in that. It was
Yeah.
really
yeah, it
great
was good.
results.
Well, and the gratifying thing, I think, was that so many people voted.
Yeah.
The participation was really, really,
But if you look at the top 7 vote getters, they were either Residents Alliance or PPAC. So there was definitely.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Some
sure.
name recognition.
Yep, yep.
Sure.
I still don't know who some of the other people are.
Oh, I'm with you there.
Yeah, right.
Well, there were 5 people from Torino.
Really?
Yeah.
And one,
I didn't make that
correct?
connection.
Only one.
One.
One, so.
There were some of the names there that, but were, a couple of them seemed interested. I think Rich has at least talked to them about kind of recruiting them for things we're gonna be doing, If you have an interest, join in with
Yeah,
us.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So, the issue comes up with both of you folks being on both
Yes, the.
bodies,
The intent is, I think that Nancy's gonna resign.
I will probably resign. I'm not going to do that during the budget process. Plus, I want to have some time to work with Scott, because in seeing what I'm doing now with the master, a lot of the things I'm doing right now might be eliminated.
Oh.
Because the way it's set up now, 2 people from the master have to approve invoices. And so it's kind of a duplication for me to then go right back in and approve them again, which is a lot of what I do, is what I spend my time on, is going through all those invoices and approving them for PPAC. But if I've already approved them for the master, what's the point of them being approved here a second time?
Well,
We did it
I
before
guess the
because it was a
issue-
wall
the issue-
between
The issue
WCI.
is, if it's CDD money that's paying for it,
Mhm.
the master shouldn't have anything to do with that, in terms of approval.
Right.
Or
But when-
disapproval.
But when, the way Castle is set up, the Master Association, we go in and we approve anything that they're paying, and it's coded either to here or to the master. So, you don't
Well,
need
but
a
any-
barrier
But anything
anymore.
that's coded to here, whoever takes your place will do that.
I don't know that it's necessary anymore, because the reason we did it before
That's only
is
if
the
we trust you.
builder had access if we didn't have that wall.
That's
Now we
only if
have-
we trust you.
Yeah, well, but now we have owners running the master, so we don't need that second barrier anymore.
Yeah, but we
I
won't.
don't know.
I don't know enough about it to really, but I just think whoever's in that chair, certainly on a short term for a year or so, should continue as its president, because how else will we do our budget?
Because his system can generate the same report I generate. That I spend hours putting everything into QuickBooks. And your system can do a
We all,
budget versus
it's just
actual
a,
every
it's
month.
just a duplicate system.
It's a duplicate system. It really is.
Everything that we do at the master level if you look at the financials for Pelican Preserve on the website, you'll see two areas. One's the master and one's the GSCDD. They're all combined into one financial statement, but they're separated.
And there would be a reason they wouldn't be separated in the
No.
future?
No, they'd still
No,
be separated.
it's still gonna be separated, but
What she's indicating, her view of the world is that the Master Association should approve bills paid for by our money.
If you go back to the reason PPAC started doing this, it's because during the bankruptcy, WCI could have dipped into some of these funds.
Absolutely.
To pay their things.
Absolutely.
There's no
But
builder there now to do
The
that.
funding moved from the Master Association to the CDD.
Right.
There's no move that I'm aware of to move the funding back to the
No,
master.
and it's not, it's still separate. It's all separate. But all I'm saying is the Master Association is the owners.
Why? That's the money,
Well, we're gonna take, some leadership from you. You look at it?
yes.
Yeah.
well,
I just-
and keep one thing in mind, the O&M agreement is with the Master Association. So the master's responsible for managing that operation and that funding.
Well, like I said,
Yeah, and that approval is fine coming from the master, because that really has nothing to do with the CDD money. That approval comes from Infomart.
Yeah.
what do you mean it doesn't have to do with the CDD money? It is CDD money.
Right, but that's an agreement that is in your budget to reimburse the master's expenses. Those are still reviewed and approved by Infomart. They're the ones with the money. It's the CDD money, but it's HOA money, and it's just how it's reimbursed. It's assessed, it's
So
collected
it's
through
not
assessments.
HOA money,
No, absolutely not.
not.
It's not, but it's coming from the HOA. It's the
No.
HOA's expenses.
It's HOA expenses, but we're paying our taxes through our
To the
tax
CDD
money
to pay
the
those bills.
CDD.
I understand that, but if they're approving them from the HOA, all we're doing is reimbursing the HOA agreement.
Well, yeah, but
I-
you have to understand, this body has a separate
Fiduciary responsibility to
fiduciary.
watch all this. money,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
For security, for landscaping, and for ponds and wetlands.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's one of the
if you
things
guys
we all
wanna do
gotta
that.
iron out.
I have no problem if they want to move the funding back to the master.
The only problem that
I don't have
happens
any
when we
problem
get,
with
when we
that.
get that many people in it, is it's gonna be backed up.
Because of the-
We're not talking about moving money,
Yeah.
we're talking
Money's
about
not-
a process.
I understand
It's,
that
it's
part.
just a process.
Because of the quarterly assessments are at different periods. And we would have to cough up from this group a whole bunch of money that we don't have, so that the assessment periods would start and be equal, yeah.
Money-
Well, we're
money's
not gonna
moving
resolve it
anywhere.
today.
Well, no,
Money's
no.
not going anywhere.
No,
No.
this was Ron suggesting that we
Yeah.
just move it all back and
I know
not
what
have
you're
a
saying.
CDD with the
Yeah.
assessment.
Okay, yeah.
It's just,
Can't do that.
we have a duplicate system going there, and the duplicate
For
system.
parallel systems, right?
A parallel system, and it was to keep WCI from dipping into money that they shouldn't be dipping into. There is no builder to dip into the money anymore.
So now we gotta keep the HOA from dipping into the money.
Yes, exactly.
Well,
You're absolutely right.
But it's,
I mean, that,
but
it's
it's
a matter of
owners and
trust.
owners,
It's
it's
a
the
matter of
same
trust.
people, you know.
Matter
I'm
of
sure
trust.
once in a while, something that's supposed to be CDD
We-
might get billed
yeah,
to the
and
master, or
we
vice
can,
versa.
we can try it, but I can tell you if we have another hand in it, the
Well, we have it
money's
now.
never even gonna get to you guys. I mean,
Well,
this
we're
is
not
like a
proposing to
two-week
change
process.
anything right now.
No,
Let's go
no,
ahead.
I would not change anything for
But
this
you need to
budget.
find a female
Well, I was.
Cypress
wait,
Grove
wait, wait.
replacement.
Well, so apropos the fact that Nancy probably will eventually resign, and actually Tony indicated to me that two of us couldn't serve. He feels that two of us could not serve
different rules,
on both the
sunshine laws
master
are
and.
different between the two types of
You never had any problem with
organizations.
Dubauer serving them.
Two.
Well, he was HOA and
No,
the
no,
board.
No,
two
no,
people.
but people.
Not two organizations, two people.
Two people.
Oh,
Two people,
People.
not two organizations,
Because the
two
sunshine
people.
rules are
One or the other of us
Oh.
That's
should
why he is
theoretically go
Yeah.
on.
They have a much more laxed sunshine rule.
We're not
than
covered
we
under
do.
the sunshine
We're not
rules
covered
because
actually
we're
under
not
the sunshine
an
rules.
elected official.
Yeah.
Oh, in this
Well, you
position.
are elected.
Well, there,
Well,
there,
we're not-
elected by
there,
the
there
committee.
are rules
Yeah,
that
we're
are
not
kind of
elected.
like the sunshine rules, I mean,
Just
they
not
have.
as strict.
They have parallel rules, but they're a lot less strict, and they're not part of the sunshine laws specifically.
Like the CDD members are elected officials. so
We're
they're-
like Star Trek, this is uncharted waters.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
what I would like is the members of this body, if you know of any people who might take Nancy's place, we need somebody with, obviously, a lot of financial acumen to.
You need an accountant.
Huh?
You need an accountant.
Accountant, you need an accountant.
Nancy, this is John Grega. I think you should stay on both for at least a short period of time.
Well,
Like,
she
She is, John, that's what she said.
well, I mean, as much as 6 months or even a year, just to make sure that transition runs smooth.
Well,
At least to the next budget year.
we'll work on that. Committee member requests and audience comments, I'd like to just cast back to actually the Safety and Security Work Group, and that is that I have agreed, and we'll bring it up to you when it happens, but Ron has agreed to come back as the chairperson of the Safety and Security Work Group. After
Well, can we talk about bicycle lanes after it goes back?
after he-
Absolutely.
After he returns,
Damn straight.
after he returns from his summer hiatus, he is going to, I'm gonna resign, and he's gonna take that job.
Very good.
Any other comments, anything? Okay, next meeting, date, we're gonna have to set, we'll get out to you about, setting a different date. The July 11th clearly is not gonna fly.
Yeah, I might be going to most of July after that.
Okay, well, we'll have to get, we'll have to see that.
Yeah, we need a budget workshop.
We need a budget.
We don't have a-
Yeah, since if we don't have a meeting, we'll try and get together a budget workshop sometime after Nancy's available. Anything else? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Seconded, the meeting is adjourned.